Step into a world where danger lurks around every corner, where the line between law and chaos blurs, and where a select few hold the keys to darkness. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey into the realm of the United States' most dangerous gangs. These notorious groups have earned their place in the shadows, leaving an undeniable impact on the fabric of American society. From bustling city streets to hidden territories, their presence sends chills down spines and their stories captivate the imagination. Join us as we delve into the domains of the 10 most formidable and menacing gangs that have left an indelible mark on the land we call home. Brace yourself for an eye-opening adventure into a side of America few dare to explore. Number 10. Tango Blast. Puro Tango Blast or Tango Blast is a term used to collectively describe various regionally based gangs of generally Hispanic men from major Texas cities, including Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, El Paso, Corpus Christi, Rio Grande Valley, and West Texas, have banded together for protection from established security threat groups like Mexican Mafia and the Texas Syndicate. Each regional group is individually called the Tango. These tangos began forming in the 1980s and may have roots back as far as the 1970s. The term Tango Blast refers to the idea that a particular tango member is more criminally active than others. Tango Blast is different compared to traditional prison gangs such as Mexican Mafia and the Texas Syndicate. Lacking the typically strict hierarchy of those organizations, the Texas Department of Public Safety classifies Tango Blast as a loose affiliation gang with relaxed membership requirements and little to no detectable leadership hierarchy. Tango Blast members do not have to follow orders, attend organizational meetings, or pay other Tango members to be active. They also do not have to participate in any gang activities when they are out of prison. There is no consistent pathway for initiation into a tango. Rather, each individual set of Tango members determines who is admitted and by what methods. One initiation method is called a court check or a test of heart, in which the potential member must engage in physical combat with 2 or more members, provided that he does not surrender during the melee. He is inducted to the gang. However, membership usually can only be acquired in prison and not in jails or on the streets. Originally formed as a prison gang, Tango Blast expanded its influence beyond the confines of correctional facilities, spreading its reach to the streets of Texas. With a decentralized structure, Tango Blast operates through numerous cliques and factions, enabling it to maintain a wide network and effectively control various criminal activities. From drug trafficking and extortion to acts of violence, Tango Blast's criminal endeavors have left an indelible mark on the communities it operates in. Despite the law enforcement's relentless efforts to dismantle the gang, Tango Blast's enigmatic nature and ability to regenerate make it an ever-present force in the criminal landscape of Texas. Number 9. Barrio Azteca. The Barrio or Los Hostages is a Mexican-American gang originally based in El Paso, Texas. The gang was formed in the jails of El Paso in 1986 and expanded into a transnational criminal organization. They are currently one of the most violent gangs in the United States and are said to have over 3,000 members in the U.S. in locations such as New Mexico, Texas, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania, and at least 5,000 members in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. They took over control of the routes in Ciudad Juarez, known as the Juarez Laza, which are vital for the drug trafficking organizations, since they are the major illicit conduit into the United States. The estimates are that about 70% of the cocaine that enters the United States flows through the area. The gang's main source of income derives from smuggling drugs across the border from Mexico into the United States. They are also responsible for the distribution and sale of narcotics in and outside of prisons. Aside from drug trafficking, they have been charged with a number of different crimes. The gang, which operates in the U.S. and Mexico, has morphed into a prime example of the cross-border nature of Mexico's drug war. Members of the Barrio Azteca gang usually have U.S. citizenship, making them ideal cross-border killers that move back and forth across the UK escort-Mexico border. Some believe that the growth of Barrio Azteca in Mexico is due to the area's distinctive cross-border nature. The area of El Paso and Ciudad Juarez is in many ways one community with families, friends, businesses, and even gangs joined in the same urban sprawl. Some illegal Mexicans are arrested in the United States, are imprisoned in Texan prisons, and consequently join Barrio Azteca when they are absolved from their sentences. Furthermore, if the cartel needed to intimidate or carry out an assassination in the United States, they would simply call on the Barrio Azteca. When the Sinaloa cartel made its first incursion into Ciudad Juarez in 2008, Barrio Azteca was called to defend the plaza. They are alleged by the Mexican authorities to have committed numerous brutal assassinations in the city, although the exact numbers are unknown. In addition, Barrio Azteca controls most of the drug sales for the Juarez cartel in Ciudad Juarez as streets and prisons. Although other gangs and independent operators abound, Barrio Azteca is also reported to have kidnapped people in El Paso and drive them south into Ciudad Juarez to kill them. A murder in Texas drives a huge investigation, which often leads to an arrest. But in Ciudad Juarez, it is one of the more than 10 corpses found dead on a daily basis. The gang also tortures and murders its victims in front of a large and cheering gang audience, according to the testimony of an alleged Barrio Azteca member. Gang members torture and kill their victims by digging up holes in the ground, throwing a bunch of mesquite and then pouring in some gasoline. The gang members then beat up their victims and throw them in the hole. Then they light the whole thing on fire. Number 8. Black Guerrilla Family. The Black Guerrilla Family, aka the BGF, California's and Maryland's most dangerous black crime organization. The BGF came to be in 1966, the creation of the Black Panther Party member, activist and author George Dixon and fellow inmate W.L. Nolan. At first, the project was designed as a way to resist and eradicate racism within the San Quentin State Prison in California while attempting to overthrow the current government. The gang soon became known as a strong and organized criminal group in the United States, eventually developing an internal structure and a well-described set of rules. The attempted murder of American lawyer Faith Stender in 1979 marked the group's entrance into the world of violent crime, believed to have betrayed both the Black Guerrilla Family and its leaders. The lawyer was followed to her home, where her family was tied up while she was shot several times at point blank before the lawyer was executed. In later years, a document simply known as the Black Book was created and distributed among inmates in several correctional facilities. The book, spawning self-help rhetoric and promoting a positive outlook on life, describes the current state of the organization alongside poems, essays, and other informative material. The final manuscript is more than 100 pages long and remains officially unpublished. Although copies were circulating within the prison system at first believed to be inciting violent uprising during the 2015 Baltimore unrest, members of the BGF, the Bloods, and the Crips actively campaigned for a peaceful and respectful protest. Several individuals eventually joined forces to disperse troublemakers or protect black children, businesses, and reporters. However, this wouldn't last long. May 2016 and Lexington Terrace. The BGF will get into it with the 8 Trey Gangsta Crips with Leader G. True Gangster Chisel and Jug would attempt to kill BGF members, making this an official form of initiation into the bag with a 3 Gangster Crips. Crips would end up knocking off a high-ranking member of the BGF, our Bitman shooting him in the face abdomen, and are making it their main goal of wiping out the remaining members firing on BGF members or those affiliated. The 83 Crips referred to them as monkeys. Through a series of text messages discussing murders, hoods, and gang business, no one has won the war yet. Number 7. 18th Street Gang. 18th Street, also known as Calle 18, Barrio 18, Mara 18, or simply Ley 18 in Central America, is a multi-ethnic, largely Central American and Mexican transnational criminal organization that started as a street gang in Los Angeles. It is one of the largest transnational criminal gangs in Los Angeles, with 65,000 members between the United States, Mexico, and Central America, and is also allied with the Mexican Mafia, another U.S.-based crime organization. 18th Street started as a Mexican-American gang, but the gang also became Central American as it started to recruit more members of other ethnic groups. When Central American gang members were arrested in the United States, they were then deported back to Central America, where the gang rose out of control on different levels of violence, not just in El Salvador, but in Honduras and Guatemala as well, becoming one of the most violent gangs in Central America. 18th Street later became a bitter rival of MS-13, as both gangs wanted the top spot in Central America. Members of 18th Street are mainly Mexican, Salvadoran, Honduran, and Guatemalan, but the gang does have members from other parts of Central America. Women are also able to join the gang, but are treated very poorly. The women that joined the gang had 3 ways to do so. First was an 18-second beating, second was sexual intercourse with multiple members, and the last option was being the girlfriend or wife of a member can potentially lead to membership over time. The women were expected to take on male-associated roles often involving violence, as well as playing more of a mother role by caring for children and taking care of the sick. Cars are stolen and homes are burgled by the gang routinely. On average, someone in Los Angeles County is assaulted or robbed by 18th Streeters every day. The gang has left a bloody trail at a pace 3 times that of many of the city's most active gangs. 18th Street is a well-established gang that is involved in all areas of street crime. Several 18th Street gang members have reached a higher level of sophistication and organization in their illicit activities than other gangs. While their main source of income is street-level distribution of drugs, they also have been linked to murders, assaults, arson, copyright infringement, extortion, human trafficking, illegal immigration, kidnapping, prostitution, robbery, and weapons trafficking, as well as other crimes. 18th Street Gang has also been implicated in the high-profile kidnapping and murder of the 16-year-old brother of internationally renowned Honduran football player Wilson Palacios. Number 6. Gangster Disciples. The Gangster Disciples, also known as Growth and Development, are an African-American street and prison gang, which was formed in 1969 by Larry Hoover and David Barksdale. The 2 rival gangsters united together to form the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. Since 1989, after a decline in leadership caused friction between the 2 gangs, the BGDN has divided into different factions known today as the Gangster Disciples, and the other being the Black Disciples. The Gangster Disciples are active in over 100 cities and 31 states, predominantly in the Midwestern and Southeastern United States, and remnants also maintain a significant presence in the U.S. prison system. The gang had between approximately 50,000 and 90,000 members. The gang had expanded through the north and west sides of Chicago, as well as Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Kansas City, Detroit, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Birmingham, and co-founder Hoover's birthplace of Jackson. They first emerged in significant numbers in Memphis, Tennessee in the 1980s, the first modern street gang to do so. On Independence Day 2005, men claiming to be members of the Gangster Disciples street gang killed Sergeant Yuan Johnson of the U.S. Army in the small town of Hohenecken, part of the city of Kaiserslautern, near Ramstein, Germany. On July 21, 2020, a car pulled up to a funeral home in Chicago's Englewood area, and 2 gunmen infiltrated the property, opening fire. 15 people were wounded, with no reported fatalities. The funeral was for a victim killed a week prior, and was allegedly involving a dispute between 2 Gangster Disciples factions. On April 27, 2016, 32 members of Gangster Disciples were arrested on RICO charges by federal agents. Among the 32 arrested was a former Atlanta area police officer who prosecutors say was a hitman for the gang. The indictment alleges that Gangster Disciples members committed 10 murders, 12 attempted murders, 2 robberies, the extortion of rap artists to force the artists to become affiliated with the Gangster Disciples, and fraud resulting in losses of over $450,000. On January 25, 2021, 7 members of the gang throughout Naperville, Illinois, and Cape Girardeau, Missouri, were all arrested and charged with RICO-related federal charges. The charges alleged that on April 28, 2018, 3 members under a leader's order allegedly killed Leroy Allen as part of a leadership dispute at a Gangster Disciples meeting in Bridgeton, Missouri. A month later, on May 18th, 2 other members allegedly killed Ernest Wilson, a rival board member in Chicago. Other acts of violence alleged as part of the conspiracy include a nightclub stabbing in East St. Louis, Illinois, a non-fatal shooting in Cape Girardeau, and multiple unsuccessful murder plots. Number 5. Mexican Mafia. The Mexican Mafia, also known as La IME, is a Mexican-American criminal organization in the United States. Despite its name, the Mexican Mafia did not originate in Mexico and is entirely a U.S. criminal prison organization. Law enforcement officials report that the Mexican Mafia is the deadliest and most powerful gang within the California prison system. Government officials state that there are currently 500 official members of the Mexican Mafia, with thousands of hitmen and associates within prison, and an estimate of more than 50,000 foot soldiers who also carry out its illegal activities on the streets in the hopes of becoming full members. The Mexican Mafia appears to have immense reach and influence into every Hispanic street gang in Southern California, including the notoriously brutal MS-13 and 18th Street Gang, who are under the Mexican Mafia's control. The U.S. government considers the Mexican Mafia to be among the most powerful, dangerous, and feared criminal organizations in the world, and even considers LAIM to be more dangerous and at least as powerful as any Mexican drug cartel. The Mexican Mafia is the controlling organization for almost every Hispanic gang in Southern California, and some gangs located in Central and Northern California, with their vassal gangs being called Sureños. Members of almost all Hispanic gangs in Southern California are obliged under the threat of death to carry out any and all orders from made Mexican Mafia members. The Mexican Mafia also holds a loose alliance with the Aryan Brotherhood, mainly due to their common rivals within the prison system. The primary rivals of the Mexican Mafia are Nuestra Familia. The Mexican Mafia is also a rival of the Black Guerrilla Family prison gang, which holds a loose alliance with La Nuestra Familia. Bloods and Crips are the new enemies. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Mexican Mafia had arranged for contract killings to be carried out by the Aryan Brotherhood, a white prison gang. The Mexican Mafia and the Aryan Brotherhood are mutual enemies of the Norteños and the African-American gangs Black Guerrilla Family and DC Blacks. Even though homosexuals are barred from entry into LAIM, they are engaged heavily in homosexual prostitution in the prison system. Many of the street-level homicides in the Highland Park area of Los Angeles committed by the Avenues gang were done on orders issued by the Mexican Mafia. The Mexican Mafia is involved in a variety of criminal activities both inside and outside the prison system. But its main source of income is extorting drug distributors outside prison and distributing various narcotics within and outside the prison system. Number 4. Aryan Brotherhood. The Aryan Brotherhood, also known as the Brand or the AB, is a neo-Nazi prison gang and an organized crime syndicate which is based in the United States and has an estimated 20,000 members both inside and outside prisons. The Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC, has characterized it as the nation's oldest major white supremacist prison gang and a national crime syndicate, while the Anti-Defamation League calls it the oldest and most notorious racist prison gang in the United States. According to the FBI, the Aryan Brotherhood makes up an extremely low percentage of the entire U.S. prison population, but it is responsible for a disproportionately large number of prison murders. The gang has focused on the economic activities which organized crime entities typically engage in, particularly drug trafficking, extortion, inmate prostitution, and murder for hire. The organization of its whites-only membership varies from prison to prison, but it is generally hierarchical, headed by a 12-man council which is topped by a 3-man commission. The Aryan Brotherhood uses various terms, symbols, and images in order to identify itself, including shamrocks, swastikas, and other symbols. In order to join the Aryan Brotherhood, new members may swear a blood oath or take a pledge. Acceptance into the Aryan Brotherhood is aided by a prospect's willingness to kill another inmate. The Aryan Brotherhood has members inside federal and state prisons and outside on the streets. All members are white and are either in prison or have been in prison. Joining is difficult. New members are on probation for a year, must swear a blood oath for life, and must commit a violent act to join the Brotherhood, such as killing a rival inmate, assaulting an officer, or murdering an African-American or Hispanic prisoner. The Aryan Brotherhood's communication and control has become so tight and efficient that they have been able to organize and direct major criminal enterprises on the outside, even from solitary confinement, much to the frustration of federal and state authorities. Outside prison, the AB engages in every kind of criminal enterprise, including murder for hire, armed robbery, gun running, methamphetamine manufacturing, heroin sales, counterfeiting, and identity theft, according to the SPLC. Number 3. Bloods. The Bloods are a primarily African-American street gang founded in Los Angeles, California. The gang is widely known for its rivalry with the Crips. It is identified by the red color worn by its members and by particular gang symbols, including distinctive hand signs. The Bloods comprise various subgroups known as sets, among which significant differences exist, such as colors, clothing, operations, and political ideas that may be in open conflict with each other. Since the gang's creation, it has branched throughout the United States. Bloods are a loosely structured association of smaller street gangs known as sets that have a common gang culture. Each set has its own leader and generally operates independently from the others. Most Bloods members are African American males, although some sets have recruited female members as well as members from other races and ethnic backgrounds. Members range in age from early teens to mid-20s, but some hold leadership positions into their late 20s and occasionally 30s. There is no known national leader of the Bloods, but individual Blood sets have a hierarchical leadership structure with identifiable levels of membership. These levels of membership indicate status within a gang. A leader, typically an older member with a more extensive criminal background, runs each set. A set leader is not elected, but rather asserts himself by developing and managing the gang's criminal enterprises through his reputation for violence and ruthlessness and his charisma. The majority of set members are called soldiers, who are typically 16 to 22. Soldiers have a strong sense of commitment to their set and are extremely dangerous because of their willingness to use violence both to obtain the respect of gang members and to respond to any person who disrespects the set. Associates are not full members, but identify with the gang and take part in various criminal activities. To the extent that women belong to the gang, they are usually associates and tend to be used by their male counterparts to carry weapons, hold drugs, or prostitute themselves to make money for their set. Recruitment is often influenced by a recruit's environment. Bloods recruit heavily among school-age youth in poor African American communities. Gang membership offers youth a sense of belonging and protection. It also offers immediate gratification to economically disadvantaged youth who desire the trappings of gang life, such as gold jewelry, cash, and expensive sports clothing. Blood sets have a loose structure of ranks based on how long a person has been involved with a particular set. The ranks do not signify leadership or dominance over the set. They merely signify respect for those who have been in the set longer and have survived the longest. Those with a higher rank do not have a position of authority over those of lower rank. The gang has a membership of between approximately 15,000 and 20,000 active in 123 cities and in 33 U.S. states, primarily on the West Coast and, to a lesser extent, the Great Lakes region and the Southeast. Number 2. Crips. The Crips is an alliance of street gangs that is based in the coastal regions of Southern California. Founded in Los Angeles, California in 1969, mainly by Raymond Washington and Stanley Williams, the Crips were initially a single alliance between two autonomous gangs. It is now a loosely connected network of individual sets, often engaged in open warfare with one another. Traditionally, since around 1973, its members have worn blue clothing. The Crips are one of the largest and most violent associations of street gangs in the United States. They have a long and bitter rivalry with the Bloods. Some self-identified Crips have been convicted of federal racketeering. Gang activity in south-central Los Angeles has its roots in a variety of factors dating to the 1950s, including post, World War II economic decline leading to joblessness and poverty, racial segregation of young African American men who were excluded from organizations such as the Boy Scouts, leading to the formation of black street clubs, and the waning of black nationalist organizations such as the Black Panther Party and the Black Power movement. As of 2015, the Crips gang consists of between approximately 30,000 and 35,000 members and 800 sets, active in 221 cities and 41 U.S. states. The states with the highest estimated number of Crip sets are California, Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Members typically consist of young African American men but can be white, Hispanic, Asian, and Pacific Islander. The gang also began to establish a presence in Canada in the early 1990s. Crip sets are active in the Canadian cities of Montreal and Toronto. As with most criminal street gangs, Crips have benefited monetarily from illicit activities such as illegal gambling, drug dealing, pimping, larceny, and robbery. Crips also profit from extorting local drug dealers who are not members of the gang. Along with profitable rackets such as these, they also participate in vandalism and property crime, often for gang pride reasons or simply enjoyment. This can include public graffiti, tagging, and joyriding in stolen vehicles. The gang's current primary source of income is street-level drug distribution. However, many Crip members also make notable amounts of funds from the black market sale of illicit firearms. The gang's size and power was largely augmented by the profits from the street sale of crack cocaine throughout the 1980s. Number 1. MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha, commonly known as MS-13, is an international criminal gang that originated in Los Angeles, California, in the 1980s. Originally, the gang was set up to protect Salvadoran immigrants from other gangs in the Los Angeles area. Over time, the gang grew into a more traditional criminal organization. MS-13 has a long-time rivalry with the 18th Street Gang. Many MS-13 members were deported to El Salvador after the end of the Salvadoran Civil War in 1992 or upon being arrested, facilitating the spread of the gang to Central America. The gang is currently active in many parts of the continental United States, Canada, Mexico, and Central America. Most members are Central American, Salvadorans in particular. As an international gang, its history is closely tied to United States-El Salvador relations. In 2018, the gang's U.S. membership of up to 10,000 accounted for less than 1% of the 1.4 million gang members in the United States, and a similar share of gang murders. The gang is often referenced by the United States Republican Party to advocate for stricter immigration policies. Membership in Mara Salvatrucha consists primarily of Salvadorans and Salvadoran Americans, but also Hondurans, Guatemalans, Mexicans, and other Central and South Americans. Central Americans are the primary targets of violence and threats of violence by MS-13. Many of the victims are minors. Minors also make up the majority of suspects arrested for killings attributed to MS-13. Gang members typically arrive the United States from Central America as unaccompanied minors. MS-13 has been a theme in the Republican parties, in particular former President Donald Trump's, discourse during political campaigns and debates on immigration. Republicans have accused Democrats of being responsible for violence by MS-13 gangs and have called for stricter immigration policies to deal with MS-13. Republican politicians have argued that sanctuary cities contribute to MS-13 activity. Mara Salvatrucha members are involved in the trafficking of narcotics, primarily cocaine and marijuana, into the United States, as well as the transportation and distribution of illicit drugs throughout the U.S. Conversely, the gang is engaged in the trafficking of stolen vehicles from the U.S. to Central America. MS-13 also utilizes intimidation and violence to extort payment from legal and illegal businesses operating in its territory. Members partake in additional criminal activities including alien smuggling, weapons trafficking, assault, homicide, rape, kidnapping, identification theft, home invasions, carjackings, prostitution, robbery, and vandalism.